Buck Super Bowl 55 champ Shaq Barrett coming at you live for NSPN NexGen Sports. Go like and follow NSPN for total coverage of all team and combat sports, live shows, plus exclusive player interviews and unprecedented sports content creation.
Aren't you loving life in Tampa Bay? Nothing like being defending Super Bowl champs, Stanley Cup champions, American League champions. This is Al Keck. Join me every Sunday morning at 10. Let's talk our teams in the hottest sports market in the country. Never too early to talk Buccaneers or check in on all the teams in Tampa Bay. It will be your best hour of sports. The Al Keck Show, powered by Guerrilla Marketing. Sunday mornings at 10 on 102.5 The Bone. Sports media has evolved. Introducing NSPN NexGen Sports, your number one source for all team and combat sports. Live shows, breaking news, esports tournaments, and interactive sports content like never before. Like and follow NSPN on our Facebook page for your chance at this month's fan giveaway contest. And tune in every Sunday at noon for exclusive video access to my Al Keck Show interview. NSPN NexGen Sports. Al Keck here. I have to tell you about my amazing pampered experience at Daniela LaCorey Styling Studio. First of all, I love what she did with my hair, but it's the entire experience that truly sets her apart. You walk in and chances are she's playing your favorite music because she asked. She pours you your favorite adult beverage because she asked. It's gone from haircut to a truly relaxing time only at Daniela LaCorey Styling Studio. Haircuts, men and women, full spa treatments, hair color. Get it all with Daniela. Check her out on Instagram at Daniela LaCorey or book her on the Booksy app at ladybarberdaniela.booksy.com. Tell her Al Keck sent you and get $10 off your first service, plus neck and shoulder massage. Daniela LaCorey Styling Studio. Al Keck here from my friends at Family Lawn, Pest, Handyman, and Housekeeping. I'm all about saving money and saving time, especially when it comes to maintaining my home. These people are 4-in-1. One provider for my lawn, pest, handyman, and housekeeping. I don't have to call 4 different companies, receive 4 different estimates, have 4 different strangers come into my home and write 4 different checks. I simply call Roger and Paula at Family Lawn and Pest. Sign up for a year and leave the honeydews to them. Get a free estimate. Call 813-526-8111. That's 813-526-8111. Tell them Al Keck sent you and get $250 off your first year or 20% off your first month. It's Family Lawn and Pest and so much more. Medical marijuana made easy. See if you pre-qualify for your Florida medical marijuana card free of charge, 100% risk, obligation, and judgment-free with Fast Track Cannabis Clinics of America. You're talking Tampa Bay's #1 choice for compassionate care with business professionals. Discreetly begin your road to relief by dialing 813-358-CARD or visit www.mycannabiscard.com. That's 813-358-2273. And make sure to tell them that Al Keck sent you for $30 off new patient enrollment. Ask about military and senior discounts. Fast Track Cannabis Clinics of America. With uncertainty at an all-time high, securing what matters most has never been more important for your home or your office. Prevent disaster and make life easier. Try a security and home automation system from Alarm Engineers, Inc., Tampa's trusted leader for more than 30 years. State-of-the-art security systems, award-winning monitoring, and now full-spectrum smart home solutions. Alarm Engineers, Inc. has everything your home and office could possibly need and will work with any budget. Book a free security or smart home consultation today. Call 813-948-4000. That's 813-948-4000. And get your first month free by telling them Al Keck sent you. Alarm Engineers, Inc.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Blake Anthony with another session of Sports Top 49, but it's a little different this time. I got my co-host Allison Koehler. We're gonna bring her on here right in a second because you know I got to start the show off as I always do, like this.
What is your profession?
And with that being said, let's bring her on. Allison, what's going on, Allison?
What's up, Blake? It's good to see you and good to be back on with, rapping and whatnot with you.
Oh, always. It's been far too long. Life takes over everything. And you gotta kind of find your way back when all the smoke clears.
Yes, in more ways than one.
Yeah, and we're so happy now that you're over here at the NSPN now, beat writer, USA Today Steelers wire. It was over there with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, you're just over there doing everything in the writing career.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I love being able to just I'm writing about the Steelers, obviously still for Steelers Wire, and now I'm coming on with NSPN, going to be covering the Bucks. So it's very exciting to be able to, cover a couple different teams, and I'm still doing some occasional work for the game day, which is pretty much anything that comes up. So NFL wise, so that's pretty exciting.
Well, of course, because you're one of those ladies that love football. You're one of the few ladies that actually have an NFL tattoo on a.
I know, right? Is it on this one? I don't even know.
There you go.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
There we go. Yeah. Listen, how many ladies got that? You know she means business when a female's got an NFL logo tatted on her arm.
It's kind of permanent. So you got to want to like the NFL because you can't just be like, you can get it removed, but who wants to do that? Nobody.
It's not like you're going to turn that logo into an NBA logo. No. But speaking of logos, let's get to one of your favorite logos, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's get into that. Pittsburgh, we'll just talk about what's the main news, and we'll just go from there. Pittsburgh signing Melvin Ingram, a former San Diego Charger for 9 years, a stud out there, and San Diego and Los Angeles, and now he's a Pittsburgh Steeler. Your thoughts on that?
Well, they definitely needed it. I sort of was a proponent of Justin Houston, former Kansas City Chief coming along, but, they signed Melvin Ingram yesterday, or actually they just made it official this morning. It was like $4 million contract, 1 year. It's what they needed because obviously they lost Bud Dupree to the Tennessee Titans in free agency. Alex Highsmith played really well, I thought, for being a rookie last year, especially in a complicated Steelers defensive scheme. But so we know that, and I'm going to be writing a piece later for Steelers Wire about what bringing Melvin Ingram on to the Steelers means for Alex Highsmith. And I don't think that it helps him more than hurts him. I don't think that Mike Tomlin is looking to stunt Alex Highsmith's growth. Second year is super important for any player, in the NFL, but especially defensive players, linebackers, specifically in the Pittsburgh Steelers organization. So I really sort of see Melvin Ingram as being a rotational player, just kind of spelling Watt and Highsmith at times. And, they still have a couple other guys behind Ingram who, can do other sort of smaller things, particularly special teams more than anything. But yeah, it's good to have Melvin Ingram along. The only concern is that You know, he has an injury history. Just last season, he had a knee injury. He only played I want to say very limited games. I want to say just 7. It was something, 7 games. So not a lot of games to be able to for the Steelers to. Obviously, they have faith. You know, Bud Dupree. Look at the Titans. You know, they signed Bud Dupree to a huge contract coming off an ACL. So usually those kind of injuries are, fluky. You know what I mean? Like they don't usually happen. Back to back. You know, so hopefully, Melvin Ingram can kind of shake that injury bug and, do what he's got to do for Pittsburgh.
Absolutely. I think so. I think if you can get a healthy Melvin Ingram, I think you get a definite stud rotational pass rusher. That seems to be the way to go. They have multiple guys at that position, skill position guys, and who else better to be an old stud pass rusher than to go to the Pittsburgh Steelers than Melvin Ingram. So he should fit right in there, like you said, with Alex Highsmith, a guy out of Charlotte. Nobody really saw much. Nobody really expected much out of him. Came out there in the shine, and of course you got TJ Watt on the other end. That's been the stud there, and we'll talk about that here in a minute with his contract being on his final year due to receive $10 million. But Melvin Ingram, definitely wasn't surprised with that pick. Veteran pass rusher. Steelers have always liked veteran pass rushers, older guys, to come in there and just rotate, and I'm sure he's going to start at some point with injuries happening to the season. It's just the way the NFL goes. So looking forward to that, and I was actually trying to look forward to getting an interview with him too, waiting to hear back from his agent, Melvin Ingram, to see what his thoughts are to go from sunny California to freezing cold Pittsburgh.
Okay. Yeah. I'm trying to see, kind of take a look at where Melvin's from. He's probably not from anywhere near.
Funny thing, I wasn't going to mention it, but I was going to mention it when we got an interview. Melvin is from North Carolina. We were actually opponents against each other in high school.
That's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yay! Woohoo! Yeah, so I really hope he's gonna, do what he's got to do. The Steelers Super Bowl window. You know what I mean? I sort of feel like it closed last year. I definitely feel like it's gonna close. Like this is gonna be their last opportunity to do anything. Championship wise, Super Bowl wise, playoff wise. Next year, Mason Rudolph, is more than likely going to be the starter for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I mean, I know that the baton, had to be handed off at some point, but it's overwhelming to think of a Mason Rudolph Pittsburgh Steelers team. So,
I mean, do you honestly believe that he's there? He's just there as a Band-Aid right now, and the Steelers are really waiting to get their guy, much like they waited on to get their guy at running back and Najee Harris.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I personally think Rudolph is just a Band-Aid, but it's hard to tell. I mean, the poor guy. I mean, there aren't a lot of Steelers fans who are like, "Hey, Rudolph." There's some of them that are like, "Hey, they're being optimistic. Let's wait and see." He hasn't had a whole lot of starts. When he had a decent opportunity to start, he got hit over the head by Myles Garrett, and before that, he got concussed by a Ravens dude pretty hard. So, he hasn't had a really good, solid kind of look on the field. So, I just don't. My thought, and again, it's because I'm a Steelers fan and because we've been spoiled for the last 17 seasons, and before that, we had Terry Bradshaw, but we did have a lot of horrible quarterback play in between there, and I sort of feel like that's what's going to happen again. Franchise quarterbacks don't grow on trees, and I feel like Mason Rudolph is not that quarterback. He would have shown – I know sometimes franchise quarterbacks take some time – to develop, and that's cool. But you usually along the line of development, you see some kind of spark. It's like, hey, this guy's got it. This guy is going to be able to I'm confident that when Ben Roethlisberger retires, this guy can take over. I haven't seen it. I don't know that many people have, but again, he could turn around and surprise everybody, and I hope he does. But I just don't see him as being the future of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
No, I agree with you. He's definitely had the opportunities to show something, that some type of spark where you go, hey, that's our guy. That's our guy right there. He couldn't do it, not last year. Couldn't do it the year before. It's just too many what ifs. And you know where I've stood on where the Steelers are going to go with quarterback, and it's going to be the kid out of Boston College, Phil Jurvich. Out of Boston College kid. He's from Pittsburgh. Steelers like to pick up their own guys, as he's probably a Steeler fan, as he's from that area. So I would say that's who I've been rolling with, who the Steelers are going to pick. They got their running back. They got their tight end out of Penn State, Pat Freiermuth. Steelers kind of getting back to their old school ways, running back, decent tight end. And now you're just going to have a Band-Aid with Ben for as long as you can. Unless Rudolph shows something, or you pick up a quarterback maybe in the early or the later rounds, who knows? But that's where I think the Steelers are going to go with quarterback after moving on from Ben Roethlisberger.
His name is Jurvich?
Yeah, Jurvich. Phil Jurvich.
You know what?
Out of Boston College.
It took me forever to be able to say his name. So where is he expected to go? Like, I know it's super early, but where is this Phil guy expected to go in terms of quarterback?
If the way he's played, it's either going to be late day one or day two, unless he just comes and lights it up this year. And of course, that'll change.
Right.
But he's expected to go either day one or day two.
Okay, so it's somewhere that, I mean, because and again, I've got all these drafts working, for Steelers players. One of them is what do the Steelers need to do to draft a top tier quarterback this season? What do they need to do this season to draft one next year? And it's basically, they got to go like 5 and. I mean, when they drafted Roethlisberger, they were pretty awful, the year before. So that's kind of what they're going to have to do if they want to get somebody in the top 15 picks. But if you're saying this Phil dude is supposed to go late day one, that sounds like it's like you said, it all depends on what he does this year.
All depends. That could change. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Drop some dime. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially come out and plays in the ACC. You already know there's a couple quarterbacks going to be coming out of there. D'Ara King, not sure if he's going to be drafted or not. Miami's quarterback, very mobile. I'm not sure if he's going to switch positions or not, but that kid can play anything. You got UNC's quarterback coming out of there. You got to have a bunch of quarterbacks in this draft. So like I said, it's all going to depend on how everybody plays and team needs and things like that. But that's where I think the Steelers are going to go with quarterback. He's a big guy, emulates Ben, is mobile. He just got Steelers guy written all over him, in my opinion.
Cool. I'm gonna have to, you know me. I don't really watch any college, which whatever. But I'm gonna have to kind of watch some tape, watch some film. Like Blake, you and I will get together and watch some film on Phil. Bitch.
That's always fun.
Right. Yes.
It's always fun. Speaking of future, what is TJ Watt's future going to hold? Last year on his final contract, due to make $10 million. Seems like we had this conversation just last year, talking about Cameron Hayward. Now we're talking about TJ Watt. What's your thoughts? Does he get the extension? What do you think he's due to make?
Right. Well, he's definitely going to be, once he gets his extension, he's, for like 5 minutes, he's going to be the highest paid outside linebacker in the NFL. If you had asked me, like a month ago, I would have thought the Steelers were going to get something done to shore up his future this offseason. And usually, lately anyway, they've sort of waited until like the week of kickoff, so that it's not that they waited. It's just it takes time, especially with a player of TJ Watt's caliber. But now I just don't know that they're going to have the money to do that. Because they signed Melvin Ingram, they signed some kind of offensive tackle, he was probably picking up garbage last week, with the garbage people. But
Trey Thomas, I believe it is.
Guy, right? Yeah, he's not going to cost a lot of money. they still have their center. They haven't signed their center yet, Kendrick Green. So they don't have a whole lot of money. I want to say with Melvin Ingram's $4 million, like they might have like $8 or $9 million left. And that's not including the offensive tackle, not including Kendrick Green, who they're going to more than likely going to sign before the season starts. So I don't see how they're going to have a whole lot of money to do anything this offseason. It's so now I'm looking at, okay, he's going to play on his 5th-year option, and they're going to pay him loads of money, sometime in January, February, March, obviously. But you sort of you wonder, okay, what happens? You know what I mean? Like, God forbid, what happens if Watt gets injured? It's going to be one of those, Bud Dupree type situations. And obviously they value TJ Watt more than they did Bud Dupree because they would have made it work. They knew his contract was coming up. So if they really valued him to the point where they saw Bud Dupree as their future, they would have made it work, to re-sign him. But it's certainly going to be interesting. I initially, like I said, I thought they were going to sign TJ Watt to an extension this offseason. And to me now, it doesn't look like that's going to be possible.
No, they got a lot of options to figure out. You got Mika Fitzpatrick that's going to be coming up as well. A guy that's going to be intricate to that secondary, being how they were kind of weak in the cornerback spot. So they want to at least have some decent depth at the safety position. That's going to be interesting. Honestly, they're not going to be able to ride with Ben too much longer, too, to free up cap space. You're going to have Najee Harris for at least 4 more years on his rookie contract. I mean, 4 more years after this year on his contract. We'll have to worry about paying him. Claypool, you've got a couple years. So they've got options where they don't have to spend a lot of money. But, the Steelers don't, they're going to spend their money on defense. But they're just going to have to find ways to spend money to get the money to the players that they need to keep around. You said this last year. There's no way you're going to be able to keep Bud and keep TJ Watt. So obviously they went with Watt for obvious reasons. But Dupree did show out definite years of talent, spurts of talent. He came around. I think it was a later round draft pick when the Steelers got him. Turned out to be a decent pass rusher for them for many years. So, that's TJ Watt's their guy, and they're going to have to figure out a way to get it. And the reason I bring that up is it's going to be interesting to see what they pay him because Shaq Barrett just got a 4-year extension with Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And as well as I do, talking to Ron Butler, how contracts and stuff work out there. They all look at each other and base contracts. So Shaq got 4 years, $68 million, looking at about, let me get the right number. I believe it is his average salary is $17 million with an $18 million signing bonus. So I'm interested to see if TJ Watt can get to that number, being he's making $10 million this year. What do you think? What do you think how that contract goes, Allison? You're more familiar with the contracts and stuff up there in Pittsburgh. What do you think is going to go on with that?
Yeah, well, I definitely feel like it's going to be somewhere. I think you sort of have to look at Joey Bosa's contract that he signed, but in terms of market value wise, sort of Spot Rack is looking at his market value. It's at TJ Watt's market value. It's 5 years, $127 gazillion. Right, yeah. $26 million average salary annually. So yeah, it's going to be huge. And like I said, it's going to be something to where it's going to, like, whoever the next guy is, who's due, next outside linebacker is due money, they're going to probably get $1 million more, just to be the highest paid for, like I said, it doesn't last long here in the NFL when you're the highest paid of anything.
No, everybody just tries to outdo each other and see, oh, well, I'm better than him. I should make this. Oh, I'm that. Maybe why can't I get a longer contract? Why can't I make more? The word now is guaranteed money.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's the word. That's the word now in the league, and I can't blame them. At any given moment, you can go down and you can hurt yourself and contract negotiations. Just look at Bud Dupree going down with an injury, like that when contract season and stuff like that. Like I said, it can happen at any given moment with that. But yeah, we'll see where it goes. But you're probably right. T.J. Watt has been good since the Steelers picked him up, and it's unfortunately you got the old saying, you got to pay to play.
Mm-hmm. No doubt.
Yeah. What else do we have? Dwayne Haskins, we didn't want to go into. We talked about the depth at outside linebacker.
Bill Cowher made some pretty interesting. Cause obviously, he's doing the media rounds after since the Hall of Fame induction ceremony is coming up next month. So he actually came out and said he feels that Ben Roethlisberger is a first ballot Hall of Famer. Which there are some, the big debate is whether he's a Hall of Famer. Some people are like, no, he's not a Hall of Famer. Phillip Rivers is a Hall of Famer. It's like, what? You know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about? But, so, I mean, I think it's like 2027 is when Ben Roethlisberger will be eligible for the Hall of Fame. So it's going to be quite a while, until we know for sure whether he's going to be first ballot or not. But I think if you look at the numbers, you look at the Super Bowls, you look at just everything that he's done for that franchise, and it's really hard to disagree with Bill Cowher saying that he thinks that Ben's a first ballot Hall of Famer, and who's better to know? You know what I mean? Like, he was the coach who he coached him for 3 seasons, so he knows Ben's talent, and he still follow. He's Bill's now in the media, so he has been for a while. So it's part of his job, to analyze players and analyze teams and things. And so I think that it's really hard to disagree with the chin.
No, you definitely can't. Bill Cowher, a legend in his own right. Was around for some decent Steeler teams for many years. Had a couple quarterback changes. Tommy Maddox, Cordell Stewart, and now Ben Roethlisberger. He was able to get 1 Super Bowl there. I'm sure he would have liked more, but he was able to get 1 to finish off his coaching career there. Decided to go off with his family versus coaching. I can definitely respect that. So yeah, Bill Cowher, you have to take. Yeah, I mean, Ben, it's that whole draft class. Let's just put it out there. You have to talk about the whole draft class, and you have to start at the top: Phillip Rivers and Eli Manning. And now Ben Roethlisberger with that whole draft class. I mean, are those guys going to make the Hall of Fame? Eli Manning's questionable. 2 Super Bowls, both overtime rating, but he finished his career with a 500 record, if I'm not mistaken. Eli Manning finished with a 500 record. So it's interesting what is the intangibles that's going to get them into the Hall of Fame, because Ben had some pretty good years too, and then he had some pretty bad numbers as well. But getting older, it happens, but interesting to think. Do you think do you think Phillip Rivers is a Hall of Fame? Do you think Eli is? I know you think Ben is.
Right. Yeah. Gosh, I feel like Phillip Rivers is not. I didn't really look into why, because this was probably last summer, maybe early fall, where there was somebody had said on Twitter that Phillip Rivers is a surefire Hall of Famer, and I was like, to me, I just don't see it. Obviously, he was on some pretty bad teams, and I don't even know. I mean, they never. My thing with him is they didn't really ever they were never like, hey, we're possibly going to go to the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? I don't think their record was ever really worthy of, Super Bowl material. So yeah. And I think that that's definitely one of the things that you have to consider, the main thing that you have to consider in terms of Hall of Fame candidacy. And so, yeah, you think about that with Eli Manning, and like you said, he won 2 Super Bowls. And so there's obviously, I don't think Eli Manning, I mean, I'm not one to say outside of Steelers players, but I don't think Eli Manning is all that, is all that, worthy of, going to the Hall of Fame. But again, it's kind of hard as a Steelers fan to kind of step outside the box and think about that. But I don't see that either Phillip Rivers or Eli Manning being worthy of the Hall of Fame. But that's me.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, and especially, like I say, Eli has a 500 record, but has the 2 Super Bowls, and 2 of them are over the greatest of all time, Tom Brady. Phillip Rivers, up and down years, a lot lot of years lost for team injuries and things like that. It's just, I don't know, it's just the Chargers just couldn't get over the hump all the time, even when they were really good out there in San Diego and Los Angeles. It's just and then all you got to do is go with numbers with Phillip Rivers. So I don't know, that's a tough one. I leave those to the big wigs up there in Canton to figure that out if he's worthy or not of that. But well, it is what it is. So Steelers, we'll get back on that a little bit here. Do you what kind of season do you expect Najee Harris to have? Do you expect him to have 1,000-yard rushing, 500 yards receiving? What do you think? Do you think he's going to play the more early Le'Veon Bell role, a lot of pass catching and things like that? What is your thoughts on that?
Well, obviously Mike Tomlin likes to run his quarterback's legs off. Hopefully he has learned a little bit from the whole Le'Veon Bell situation. I mean, I think if Le'Veon had stayed in Pittsburgh, he would just work so hard during his time in Pittsburgh that you just kind of wonder if he had stuck around, if he still would have been, that kind of running back that he was early in his career. But in terms of Najee Harris, I do see him as 1,000. Yeah, like you said, like 1,000-yard rusher, 500 yards receiving, because he definitely, that's one of the reasons why Tomlin liked Najee Harris was because he was versatile and he could, Najee seems like the kind of guy where you can put him in pretty much any package and he'll just be phenomenal. But obviously, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, it's agreeing. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, obviously it has a lot of what Harris can do depends on the offensive line. Good running backs though can they can do things with a not so great, offensive line. I mean, Adrian Peterson didn't always have the best line. You know what I mean? So even Le'Veon Bell, he had some seasons where their offensive line was not all that hot, so it's like, you kind of have to look at, how that's going to roll because, it's sort of a makeshift line outside of Kevin Dotson. I mean, Kevin Dotson is like their veteran, you know what I mean?
And he hasn't been there that long.
Yeah. It's like, oh my gosh, you know what I mean? And they knew that was going to happen. They knew quite possible that their offensive line was just going to fall apart, and they were awful last year. So there's really no reason to be like, oh, why didn't they just bring back no, because they were awful. You know what I mean? Like Alejandro Villanueva, David DeCastro, they both, again, they were great when they were great. But right. The NFL is, what have you done for me lately? And they hadn't done anything for the Steelers lately, so it was time to move on. So Kevin Dotson, I think, is going to be, just like he was last year when he played in DeCastro's place. He was a people mover, So with him and hopefully Kendrick Green and Zach Banner, as long as he stays healthy, Chuks Okorafor, you know what I mean? Like they've got some talent there, but it's just a matter of playing together, and staying healthy. So hopefully they can. They know what they have in Najee Harris, and as long as they all, play as a team, I think their run game is gonna be pretty phenomenal.
It should be. Like I said, Steelers. I mean, you said it 1,000 times. Steelers had to get back to old Steelers ball, and they've definitely done that in this last draft pick. You got the wide receivers. You got an older quarterback, but that's fine. But if you can take the load off of them, it should help. You got running backs now. Defense. You got some pass rushers back there. They definitely got the pieces. Now they just have the key thing is to stay healthy and take advantages in games and opportunities and pull out some games in that AFC North. I want to flip gears real quick because I think it's important to talk about right now because some of the guys are talking about in the little group chat we're talking about. Of course, Cam just went down, and Los Angeles Rams, the running back, Cam Akers went down. The running back. First thing I said is the Rams will give Tampa Bay Buccaneers a call for Ronald Jones, being how he's from California. And that Bucks have a full stable of running backs out there with just picking up Keyshawn Vaughn a year prior and then picking up Giovanni Bernard. They have a lot of stable of running backs there. What do you think about that whole Cam Akers injury? And what do you think the Rams are going to do?
Yeah, I'm with you. They're going to be calling pretty much any team that has a spare running back, you know. But I think it's huge because, you know, they made the whole big deal with Matt Stafford. So Matt Stafford is not a young dude. He's not. I mean, you know, Matt Stafford was when Calvin Johnson retired. Matt Stafford was pretty much the only person who made the Lions any good, and they weren't all that. They were never really all that good. So it's like, you know, if Matt Stafford couldn't do anything in Detroit, even when he had Calvin Johnson, it's like, my goodness, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. So I really think that it's huge because Matt Stafford needed a running back of Cam Akers' caliber to be able to, like Najee Harris is doing for Ben Roethlisberger this year, to take some pressure off. So they're going to they're in trouble. I think, you know, just with even the one player, and even though he's in his second season, you know, he was going to be the guy there. You know,
they just got rid of Malcolm Brown, their other running back.
Yeah.
There's no real, it's going to be interesting. I know they got Henderson still there, but there's no real bell cow guy. And like you said, they just went all in on Cam Akers, and then that happens. See, we just talking about injuries, and bam, that happens, and it changes your whole offensive scheme just like that in the blink of an eye in the offseason. So now the Rams got to scramble. They're already cap strapped as it is. For prior contracts and things like mismanagement of the team for, earlier players that they had on the roster. But should be interesting. But if we flip back to the Steelers, if they stay healthy with the type of players that they got with the draft pick and the guys that they got and the vets and everything, they should be all right. I think they should win the division. It should be a good year for them, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be tough. I mean, obviously the AFC North is, it's not 2-3 seasons ago. It's not like that anymore. So even the Bengals, you got to watch out. You got to look at them and say, okay, they have Joe Burrow. I mean, they had him last year, and obviously not for very long. But and he was a rookie, and the offensive line just wasn't there for the Bengals last year at all. So you kind of have to look and see, in terms of what they did this offseason to make themselves better. So it's gonna be tough. It's definitely going to be one of the toughest divisions in the league. I think Lamar Jackson is one hit away from being out for the season, which would be okay for me. Like I'm never one to cheer on injuries. I don't want him to die. I wouldn't mind if he tore an MCL. Like, what's wrong with that? He's not gonna he'll bounce back from that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want you to, get some kind of life-threatening, career-threatening injury. I just, MCL, ACL, you know what I mean? Those come back. But anyway, I digress. I just think that the Steelers are going to win. It's going to be by a game, maybe two. And it's going to come down to the wire, and that's damn exciting.
Yes, definitely. It's always exciting in the AFC North. Like you said, Joe Burrow, shocking to me that you want to pick up Jamar Chase instead of picking up an offensive tackle, and literally you went out last year because you were sacked for a lack of left tackle, and that's what you passed on. But I'll let the Bengals live with that and see how that turns out for him. If he gets injured again, I told you so. I told you so. I told you so. But I wouldn't expect less for you to say that about the Ravens, knowing that's your rival team there, and you guys. And that's just football when those two teams play. We'll see what the Brownies do coming up into the year. They look good on paper right now. They've made all the right moves. They get Grant Delpit back from injury. They get a bunch of guys back that they had injury. Their defensive line is pretty stacked. They made some good moves. Their offensive line is definitely stout. They went and plugged up their offensive line, as you mentioned earlier, about how important offensive line is with that double-headed monster back there with Kareem Hunt and the monster that is Bradley Chubb. Nick Chubb, Chubb, the beast that he is. And if Baker Mayfield cannot just turn the ball over and just get those open man, Odell Beckham returning, Jarvis Landry, they just got options all over in Cleveland. It's just if they can all put it together, because although we know it's Cleveland.
Right. Browns will Browns.
Browns will Browns. You're absolutely right. Well, Allison, I could keep you here too long. I know it's nice and early, and I'm glad we got to know your schedule has been crazy. That has mine, trying to meet up with these guys, players, and interviews. You know how it is this time of year, writing articles and all that stuff. I'll definitely plug you in with when I expect to hear back from Melvin Ingram's agent. And I'll definitely see if you're available. I definitely would like you to be a part of that, because I know you would love to talk to a new Steeler now coming out there. So I know you would have fun. So stay in touch with that. Allison, plug everybody in, what you got going on and where they can find you.
Yeah. You can find me over at Steelers Wire as usual, SteelersWire.com. I'm starting to cover the Bucs for NSPN. So you're going to be able to find my work over on NSPN. And you can find me on Twitter is basically where I'm probably most active, kind of, at Steelers Wire AK. I got to get better at that. And on Facebook, writer Allison Koehler.
Absolutely. I know Twitter, right? For all us older folks, we're like, oh, God, Twitter. Yeah. So we'll get out of here. I'm Blake Anthony, and this is the one and only Allison Koehler. And we'll see you guys next time.